everyone. I missed you. Really did. It's patch breakdown time. The preseason is shaking things up as it always does this time of year, so there are many changes to run through in the first patch post-preseason changes. Changes are coming to Kayle, Camille, Kled, and a whole bunch of other items and runes, so let us neither dilly nor dally any longer. For the last time in 2021, this is the 11/24 patch breakdown. Let's start with Caitlyn. The last we saw of the Sheriff of Piltover, she was on the silver screen schmoozing with a certain pink-haired, maybe future enforcer. Who's to say? Right now, however, she is getting some quality of life changes that will result in a net buff. Her auto attacks are getting a partial reset timer whenever she targets an enemy marked by either her W, Yordle Snap Trap, or her E, 90 caliber net. This should make stringing together two big right clicks feel that little bit smoother. Camille, meanwhile, despite any speculation that she'll be appearing in Season 2 of Arcane, for now has landed in the nerf column. The Steel Shadow has two nerfs coming her way to be exact. Her W, Tactical Sweep, is having its sweet spots, the part on the outside of the cone, the chunky damage. Its base damage is going down by 1% across all ranks, while also having its bonus damage reduced, going from an additional 3.3% per 100 bonus AD to 2.5% per 100 bonus AD. All that damage will still be a percentage of her target's max HP, though. Her E hook shot is also having its cooldown raised late, going from 16 to 10 seconds to 16 to 12. Ivern, the friendliest tree thing the forest ever did see, is getting some buffs, and some seemingly pretty big ones at that. Ivern mains will know that the Green Father has a love a little bit less relationship with the Krug camp, so freeing them will now grant 95 experience and 85 gold, which is up from 37 and 39 golden experience respectively. Seems like a lot, but let's see if it's enough. Kayle is getting some attention for the first time directly in a while. Some smaller ones here, but they are buffs that should feed even more into her hyperscaler fantasy. The distance that the waves that her auto attacks launch after level 11 travel will now scale with her bonus attack range. This can come into effect when she hits level 16, or with a rapid fire cannon, lethal tempo, and with things like that. Kled. Adjustments for Kled. So, the way that Kled's HP is calculated now, Skarl's base HP counts as bonus HP for Kled. That will no longer be the case. Skarl's base HP now becomes Kled's base HP. Also, any items that Kled buys will add to Skarl's bonus health and count as bonus health. And when Kled is unmounted, he will check his courage twice as often, meaning it'll be a bit more seamless when he hits the threshold to remount. Meanwhile, as often as I check my courage, I still can't tell her how I feel. Also, Kled now spawns with full health. It's all a bit confusing, it's a lot of information, but you Kled one-tricks are supposed to be a different breed. Figure it out. Now what this does mean is that a lot of those boons that Kled would get from bonus HP become a lot worse. So here are some buffs for the Cantankerous Cavaliers. Skarl's aforementioned base health is going from 400 to 1420 to 400 to 1550 based on level, and the cooldown on his W, Violent Tendencies, is going from 14 to 8 seconds to 13 to 7 seconds. The cooldown on his E, Jousting, is going from 14 to 10 seconds to 13 to 9, and finally the bonus AD ratio on its damage is going from 60 to 65% of his bonus AD. Twitch is getting some small buffs similar to Kayle's in that bonus attack range is now a stat worth playing around with when you're playing the Plague Rat. His ult, Spray and Pray, now has the distance that the bolts he fires during it scale with bonus attack range. It's been a while since we've seen Samira here, or at the highest level in general, really, so in a move I'm sure everyone will be over the moon about and that will upset 0 people, here comes some buffs for the Desert Rose. Well, just one. The mana cost on her ult, Inferno Trigger, used to be 100 at rank 1, 50 at rank 2, and 0 at rank 3, but now it will be 0 at all ranks. And finally, Urgot. His passive's Shotgun Knees attack range now scales with, you guessed it, bonus attack range. And his W, Purge's automatic attacking range, also scales with bonus attack range. 2 items we go. Archangel staff buffs. This one's pretty simple. The combined cost on the item is going from 950 to just 550, meaning the item will cost only 2,600 gold as opposed to 3,000. Finally, Axiom Arc nerfs. The long-awaited nerfs to everyone's favorite preseason edition are finally here. And by long, of course, we mean one patch, but still. Axiom Arc's nerf, singular, is as follows. The ult refund now only refunds 20% of its cooldown on a takedown. Remember, that's a kill or an assist instead of the previous 25. This, in theory, seems like it's going to make it so that getting 2 ults off in one team fight is much, much harder. 4 takedowns in a team fight instead of the full 5 only leaves you at 80% cooldown refunded as opposed to 100, meaning the fight would have to drag on long enough that you got that second ult off. It's still possible, but no longer guaranteed with just 4 takedowns. Cosmic Drive is too dang strong. Here are some nerfs. Its AP is going from 75 to 65, the health it gives is going from 250 to 200, and the Spell Dance move speed bonus is going from 15% decaying to 5 as opposed to 20% decaying to 10. Crown of the Shattered Queen is another item added in the preseason that Riot thinks is overperforming. It's meant to be a defensive item, which it's been doing very well, but has been providing a little too much bite for its bark, like tree bark, given its intended identity. It's losing 10 AP, going from 70 to 60 and 80 to 70 on its Ornn upgraded version, Kaysura. Evenshroud is also getting a nerf, which will also apply to its Ornn upgraded version, Equinox. The bonus damage that enemies take upon being immobilized by the item's users via its passive, Coruscation, is going from a 12% increase in a 5-second window to just a 9% increase in a 4-second window. Frostfire Gauntlet nerfs round out the changes coming to items in 11.24. Again, its changes will also apply to Rime-Forged Grasp. The changes are to the item's signature passive, Snowbind, the slow circle thingy. The damage specifically that the melee frost field deals is going from 20 to 100 plus 0.5% of the target's max health to just a flat 12 to 85. No more max health scaling. Similarly, the range slow field's damage is going from 10 to 50 plus 0.5% max health to a flat 6 to 42.5. Conqueror buffs. Those nerfs it got in 11.21 slammed it pretty hard. Called it, by the way. The buffs in 11.24 to the game's most ubiquitous rune are a partial reversion of the aforementioned nerfs. The adaptive force per stack is getting raised a hair from 2 to 4 based on level to 2 to 4.5. The buff's duration, however, is getting bumped up to 5 seconds from its current 4-second duration. Glacial Augment, here we go. Senna players, it's okay, this nerf is targeted at tanks, though you too should really be going Grasp Senna, it rocks. The nerf is to its slow. Instead of a 35% plus 2% per 100 AP plus 2% per 100 bonus AD plus 5% per 10% heal and shielding power slow, it is just a 30% plus 3% per 100 AP plus 4% per 100 bonus AD plus 7% per 10% heal and shielding power slow. So more scaling with stats. I could have just said that, I guess. Lethal Tempo, arguably this patch's greatest offender as far as runes go, is getting nerfs to melee users' stats and a few net buffs to range users. The melee attack speed per stack is going from 15% to 13%, meaning that at max stacks the bonus is only 78% as opposed to 90%. For ranged champions, it's now 7% per stack instead of 5%, capping out at 42% instead of 30%. But the bonus attack range you get at max stats if you're a ranged champion is getting bumped down from 100 units to 75, staying the same for melee champions. Predator is also getting some nerfs, and it's the last of the runes to get changes in this patch. As Riot explains it, the buffs that Predator got in 11.18 worked fine, but then the buffs to Ingenious Hunter in 11.21 pushed it over the edge. So those 11.18 buffs to Predator specifically are getting just straight reverted. As a refresher, that means that the maximum move speed will now be 45% instead of 60%, and the ramp up time is that little bit longer at 1.5 seconds, not just 1 second. Now to dragons. These new ones have been fun, but now in patch 11.24, the doubled selection rates of Chemtech and Hextech rifts are no more. Normal selection rates for the 6 rifts are back. As far as changes to specific dragon traits, Chemtech is first up. The individual Hextech Drake is getting a buff, but the soul is getting nerfed. Each individual stack of the Chemtech buff now gives 6% bonus damage per stack as opposed to 5%, with everything else about the buff staying the same. The Chemtech Soul, the zombie soul, is having its revive duration go from 5 to 4 seconds, and those zombied champions deal 40% less damage, up from 33% while in their zombie forms. Hextech Drake, meanwhile, is getting a buff to its individual, buff. Instead of 5 additional ability haste and 5% attack speed per stack, both of those numbers are being bumped up to 6. The soul is staying as is. For skins, ARAM balance changes, very exciting ultimate spellbook updates, and bug fixes, of which there are a lot in those last 3 buckets, Check out the official patch notes and make sure to read up on all the changes on our website at .esports.com and follow us on Twitter too. Also, like and subscribe here to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all our video content all throughout the off-season and into next. Until next time, which will be in 2022, I've been Henrique Demore. Thank you for watching, and take care.